descending on Russia and the West. Washington today used stark language to condemn Moscow's invasion of Georgia, calling it bullying and intimidation, and saying it raises very troubling questions about Russia's role in the world. We'll have more on that in a moment, but we begin on the ground where our Global National crew headed out from the capital toward the front line to test the reality of a ceasefire Georgia officially signed today. Stuart Greer joins us from the road north between Tbilisi and Gori. Stuart?
Well, Sophie, Russian pullout or Russian swagger. About 10 armored personnel carriers today pushed out of Gori about 10 kilometers along the road to Tbilisi. They say they're going to set up a new checkpoint here to facilitate a buffer zone for the handover to Georgian troops. But the sign of Russian troops on the move once again is making people uneasy, of course. The Russians are only going to leave when they're good and ready.
Far from pulling back, Russian armored vehicles took control of the highway leading to the capital, moving unopposed past Georgian police. They got within 55 kilometers of Tbilisi, a mission they claimed was needed for the withdrawal. But Georgian defense officials were left baffled, calling the incursion unclear and unacceptable. It was another humiliation for Georgia on a day when U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice came to lend her support to the embattled president, Mikhail Saakashvili.
Our most urgent task today is the immediate and orderly withdrawal of Russian armed forces and the return of those forces to Russia.
The Georgian president officially signed the ceasefire, but there was no hint of diplomacy in his words.
Never, ever Georgia will succumb to their pressures. Never, ever we will surrender.
The strong language comes as civilians and journalists continue to be targeted by snipers. These Turkish reporters barely escaped an ambush on the South Ossetian border. And a humanitarian group says it found evidence Russia used cluster bombs banned under the Geneva Convention. Many are still left unexploded.
One of our main concerns is that when civilians return to their towns and villages, that the dud munitions that have been left behind are going to be potentially landmine fields for them.
But there was some good news for the residents in and around the smoldering city of Gori. For the first time, Russia has let humanitarian relief in.
This is the town of Svaneti, which is just 1 kilometer outside of Gori. They haven't had any food or any supplies delivered for over a week since the beginning of the conflict. They just got their first shipment today, so we're going to take a look in and see what the situation is here.
Much of the town is empty. We were told of the 600 families who lived here, only 40 are left. There's no gas or electricity. Back on the ground, Russian soldiers looked relaxed, reading magazines and adding camouflage to tanks. They don't appear in any hurry to leave. This may be a truce, but tonight the Russian flag flies even deeper inside Georgia. Stuart Greer, Global News, Tbilisi.
Well, as we mentioned, in the space of just a week, 10